We've been talking about Summervail all morning long only because what a rich part of our history here in the community, and I've got two fabulous gentlemen. I've got Randy and Jim joining me on the couch to give us some more information. Good morning, gentlemen.
Thank you for having us, Maddie.
Thank you guys for coming in bright and early this morning. I know sometimes these mornings are not great.
Well, we're hopeful.
Yeah, well, and Summervail is really cool. As someone who just kind of started to learn about it and did some research last night, there's some really cool aspects of what it is. And so 50 years is what we're celebrating right now. Can you give us some more information on why this is such a significant thing?
Well, it made it to 50 years for one thing, in one way or another. And we made it for that long, which is even more remarkable, I think. But we started here. It was the first real art program there was in Vail, and we started it in 1971. Excuse me, it was kind of an outgrowth of I got hired by Colorado Mountain College, and so I had the ability to be able to put together classes and hire teachers and so forth. And then I had done some part-time work for Jim Cotter and Dan Tulane and other people in town. So we got together and started talking about, we'd always been talking about trying to get artists to drop in and come through on their way from California to Omaha or wherever. And it was actually something that we were able to achieve. And the workshop started in 1971, and then it went through 1985. And but it still has lingering aspects of it all the time.
And I think that's one of the things that is kind of really important, is because with all the things that go on, kind of in art, from dance to the theater to music to, definitely the arts. Mm-hmm. And it helped get Ford Park, where the Ford Amphitheater is now. And I think it was really critical to plant that kind of seed early on, even though we didn't know that's what it was going to develop into. But it really has led into, so many things that go on now in the valley, and it has a real kind of history to it.
Which that's one of the things that everyone here is so grateful for, is kind of how we get to see all this art come to life, whether it's the multi-art festivals that we have in Beaver Creek and Vail, and they do it on the weekends during the farmers markets, and then of course like Bravo Vail and the Vail Dance Festival, and all of these different aspects of all of this art that we do get to kind of have enrich our community, that you guys got to like be a part of. And how cool is that? Yeah,
and Jim is right about one thing. We went to
just one thing.
No, about the Summervail started out at Anholt's Ranch, which is where Ford Park is now, and we started it in 1971, and and we were hopeful that the town would eventually end up buying that land, and so was Charlie Gershbach, who was the realtor for the project. And as it turned out, that was the case. And because that land was there, and because there was a stable base for the visual arts and the performing arts and so forth, it helped those things grow, and it helped them expand all the way throughout the county and the whole region, I think. And but without that land, it would have been a way different story. And that place is hardly recognizable anymore, from what it was like. It was pretty deserty when we were first out there, but it was a great opportunity. So.
And what a cool thing to see the community grow and change so much now that we've got all of these different aspects. And like you said, it went from being deserty to now this high alpine garden and this beautiful landscape that it is today. And you guys have seen all of that kind of transition and come to life.
Yeah, throughout the valley. I mean, it's grown. I mean, it was, like Randy said, it was a sheep farm and ran cattle and whatever, and so we always had to remove all the leftover deposits there every summer before we could do things, and we had no money, which we still don't have, and we just made it, with volunteers and people who really cared and who were willing to give time, energy, and whatever. I wish I still had a little bit of that energy left, but we did work long hours.
Yeah. You know, I just finished going through about 120 photographs from 1971, and they're 5x7s. And Susan Milhoan, printed those things, and you know, they haven't necessarily been we haven't taken the best of care. They've all been like tossed into piles and boxes and so forth over the years. But going through them, it's pretty interesting to see how things did develop and how you know, visually how things emerged. And
I think one of the good things too is Randy is very meticulous. He says it's just tossed in things, but it's not true. He's got them in boxes. They're organized. He's very anal that way, and I think it's a great history. And you know, we're hoping that people will continue to support it through the Legacy Project, which goes on, which, you know, Randy can probably explain a little bit better about, but it does take funding, and it does take time and energy, and you know, we both still work, and
we probably will for a long time.
yeah, we have no choice.
Well, and
I like what I do, so it doesn't make any difference. But.
Right. Well, and so tomorrow is the event with the Vail Symposium that's bringing this back to life for people to really learn about the kickoff. And the big piece of it is this giant curtain.
Right.
Is the giant what?
The curtain, crystal curtain.
Oh, that valley curtain. That was a pretty amazing experience. We ended up going there almost by happenstance. But in 1971, they originally Christo put that curtain in 1971, and they laid it out on the ground, and then they tried to lift the entire curtain. The thing is about the size of 4 football fields. It's
wow.
enormous, and it just it just got ripped to shreds. So they changed that in 1972. They engineered the fabric to be way stronger than it was originally, and then they lowered it from a cocoon at the top, and they lowered the curtain down, and it ended up being up for 27 hours, and then it too got shredded by the wind. You know, the force of the winds going through the Grand Hogback and Rifle, they changed from morning to evening, and when they changed with such force on a big surface like that. The surface just couldn't hold it. You know, it couldn't stand up to the wind. And but that was a really interesting experience. And the Christo was really an incredible person. And Jean-Claude, they were together at that time. I don't know how long they had been together, but she was a real force. He was a force to begin with, and then she just added to it, and that was a pretty amazing experience to have gone through that. And we didn't think so much about it at the time. We were over in Rifle, and one of the things that happened, there was a star shower that night. Like I can't remember what the names of the 2 star showers are, but they culminate, they overlap one another. And the night that we stayed over there, I was in the back of a pickup, and there must have been 1 million shooting stars that night. Wow. It was so phenomenal.
It was unbelievable. And part of the curtain thing was when we were down below it, tying it off. When that thing unfurled down below, or from up above, I mean, it was very scary. Yeah. And you're holding onto these ropes, and the wind is pulling you. I mean, it was a real great art project, and I'm glad I got to be part of it, because it was a once-in-a-lifetime thing.
It was a once-in-a-lifetime thing. We are all out of time. I cannot believe how quickly this has flown by. Thank you guys so much for coming, sharing your piece of history, and giving us all this great information. Here, do you want me to hold that
Thank
up?
you.
I don't know if they can do that, but please come out Thursday for the talk at Vail Mountain School, because it'll be wonderful. It'll be all kinds of things there to observe and look at from the Curtain Project.
Perfect. Thank you guys again so much for coming in.
Welcome.
Make sure that you check out Vail Mountain School. You can scan this code on your TV right now to sign up, buy your tickets online, and we cannot wait to see you there, because this is an incredible part of Vail's history. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to take another look at that local weather forecast, so stay tuned.